between like changing room and cage. So this is, I think, for me, it's most complicated time trying like to fight with myself. But while you enter in cage, it's like so different. It's time when I can like open myself, like I can take this energy in right way. So it's training hard, but fighting, it's like think what he was waiting all this time. Did like great job, so it's time to enjoy.
You know, we go through a million scenarios in our head, like what if this happens, what if this happens? But whenever I get to the arena, okay, now I'm at work, like now I'm here, now it's time, like nothing else matters. Like the only thing now that I need to be worried about is like I go in there and I need to find a way to get out. You know, like at the end of the day, I'm still gonna get locked in that cage and I'm still gonna have to fight this person. So that for some reason, once I see the cage, once I'm in there and I feel it, I'm like, I feel good, I feel relaxed, I feel calm, and I'm just focused and ready to go.
I think that she's a very good fighter. I saw a lot of her fights. I'm sure that she's working very hard and she wants the same as me to win this title. So I think that I will win this fight by knockout or by technical knockout. It's my plan.
I think Yana's tough, you know. She's bigger than I am, she's gonna be strong, and I think that she's gonna come and she's gonna bring the fight. I just feel like she had her chance. Who's been able to fight for the title 3 times in a row? You know, and I've been in Invicta, I paid my dues, I've done the work, and it's just gonna be my night. Like I will not let this belt go home with Yana. This belt is coming home with me to Vegas.
From the famed BJ Penn to the current UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway, the reputation of Hawaiian fighters seems to extend beyond a quest for personal success to a desire to highlight the fierce pride of being born in the islands. For Raquel Paualuhi, this pride carries the extra motivation of representing the fighting heritage of her family, particularly her father, David Kawiki Paualuhi, who competed in Hawaii's first generation of MMA fighters. Since birth, fighting was an integral part of her identity.
Anyone asks where you're from, you're like, why not? Why? You know, because they automatically think like, you know, it's like a little bit more of a poor place, a lot of fights, a lot of drug use, a lot of violence, I guess, there, you know. So growing up, I've pretty much seen it all, you know, from drugs to fighting to riots to, you know, you see everything growing up there. Growing up in Waianae, you play football or baseball, and then when the season's done, you go and you box. You go to Waianae boxing gym and you box. So my dad, like, you know, boxed from when he was younger, and then when he got to high school, he wrestled. He did some karate, he did like even arm wrestling, was like a state champ of arm wrestling. So, you know, like he's always did some kind of martial arts. So I think it was in '96 when they had their first ever like tournament in no gloves, no rules, like you just, I think the only thing you couldn't do was like poke them in the eye or something like that. So he ended up winning, like, it was like one of the first ever in Hawaii. It was called Future Bra, you know, and then I think they had done a couple like that, and, you know, eventually they started making the Super Bras, which were really popular.
They're gonna know, yeah, they had to stop that.
Got right in there.
And then he shoots low.
Nice, Soof. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, this kid's impressive.
Oh, great armbar.
There.
Got his feet together, that's it.
Oh. Beautiful technical fight by Kawiki Paualuhi.
I've pretty much been in like martial arts my whole life. I wasn't the one my dad expected to excel or like carry it out, you know, like he made us train every day, where maybe when we were doing karate, we had to do like the training for that, and then on the side every day we had to do like 5 to 10 katas. I think that it taught us a lot, like it taught us a lot of discipline. It made us like mentally stronger. Like my dad is like a really old school guy, so, you know, he really like pushed that mindset on us that we can do anything. We have to strive to be the best. And I think he taught us that through martial arts, which was like the thing that he knew best. When I was younger, this was when I was like maybe fifth, sixth grade, all my siblings were wrestling and I didn't, because I think my dad was almost embarrassed to let me wrestle because I was so uncoordinated. And my parents split up. My brother went to live with my dad and the 3 girls stayed with my mom. And it was almost like when I was 10th grade and I could make the decision for myself, I was like, I want to wrestle, because I wasn't living with my dad at the time, but I wanted him to feel proud of me. So it was kind of why I started to wrestle, was because of that. I went away and I wrestled for 1 year in college, and I actually did really well. I was an All-American that first year that I wrestled. And during the summer I went home and things kind of fell, like some things had fallen through. My dad was saying that, you have to do something, you can't not do anything. So he kind of like put the pressure on me, and I was like, yeah, I want to fight. And if you say something, my dad's going to make sure that you carry it through. So, like right away he sat down with me and we made like a 10-year plan. And then we did the first 2 years, like broke it down and, like, okay, guess I'm doing this. So I think I trained for maybe 2 or 3 months and I had like my first amateur fight after that.
But even the best laid plans can be shaky. And in a landscape of a sport that was only just starting to recognize the potential marketability of female fighters, Raquel's attempts for a consistent path to a championship run were thwarted. Lack of opportunities often leads to a desperate willingness to accept every fight, and Raquel's raw recklessness led to a string of losses early in her career.
6 or 7 years ago, there weren't as many people as there are now. Like, the sport is exploding and everyone wants to try to be a cage fighter, So at that time, there were only those girls to fight. So when they had given me the fights, like I think I'm fearless, where I don't really care. I'm like, I want to fight. Like, fighting is just in me, and I wanted to fight so bad. I took the fights, and I don't think I was ever afraid. Like, even when they offered me Sarah McMahon, that was probably the first bigger fight that I had, and I was like fighting one of my idols, because I came from wrestling, and she was an Olympian, and I had watched her, and I was just like, oh, this is cool. And I didn't care. Like, I think I went in there and I gave it my best shot, and I was like 20 years old fighting an Olympian, but like, what more could I have asked for? Who else could say they did that, and I tried, and I had lost like a bunch of fights to these high-level girls, but would I lose to them now? I don't think so. It gave me like a gauge in the beginning, and most people probably would have lost and like packed up their bags and be like, okay, let me get a normal desk job. But it really like fired me up, and I was like, okay, if this is where I need to be, I need to figure out a way to get there. Invicta has done an amazing job. Like, it's given women a platform to shine on, where you watch these girls, like, everyone's skilled. I think that when you make a platform like this, everyone rises to the occasion, where they want to be, they know that they're going to be seen, and they want to put on their best performances. So I think like the talent is continually growing, everyone is continually getting better, and like Invicta is getting better every time. They take care of everything for us, they treat us well.
By 2014, Raquel had the reputation and resume of going toe-to-toe with some of the toughest in the sport. But with 3 losses in a row and an upside-down record, she was far from the championship run she promised her father. Yana Kunitskaya grew up in a small town in Russia with one goal for herself: to become a professional sportswoman. She was born into a family of athletes. Her mother was a gymnast and her father a champion skier. At the age of 4, Yana Kunitskaya's parents recognized the athletic potential in their daughter and reluctantly enrolled her in the only sports club accessible in the area, a local Taekwondo gym. But they had every intention of finding something better for her later on.
I was 4 years old when I started training martial arts, because in place where I was studying, like with kids, it was only one sport thing what we can do. It was martial arts, and my parents didn't want that I played, but they said that like I'll play a little bit, but when I grow, I find that it's like my thing. I was trying a lot of different sport, but it was thing what I was really like. And maybe when I was 14, 15, my parents was trying to stop the thing, and we was fighting about this. They was like don't giving me to go to training, trying a lot of different way, like giving gifts when I go just to train as a sport and things, but it didn't work. And it was like everyone thinking is like you from family from sport, it's more easy. No, for me it was very complicated. I was fight to go to training. It's like I was trying to do everything to be a sportsman. I was asking my mom, like, what should I eat to be a sportsman? What better to, like, best sportsman eating? I remember she told me, like, name of one of the porridge, and I was trying to eat it a lot because I thought I was 4 years old and I thought it will help me. So, like, all my life I was planning, I didn't plan to be like professional fighters, that it will be my main job, but I wanted to be around, maybe do something else, study something else, but be like inside sport, maybe. Like, I didn't want to like stay in office and like spend my full day here, or like any kind of like other job what normally women doing. And no, I wanted to do something what like is fighting. Even in school, it was some teachers asking like what you want to do in your life, and when I told you that about sport, everyone was looking like it's not a job, it's like it's not what women can do. Like, no, you need like study to be like accountant or like to work in the office, do something like this, or like know how to make manicure for women. I think no, it's not for me.
This attitude reflected a strong social prejudice that pervades the MMA scene in Russia even to this day. It still baffles Kunitskaya that even her fellow Russian training partners and compatriots would shake her hand but then say, a woman shouldn't fight. Societal prejudice was also a physical setback. Kunitskaya faced a serious lack of competition. Though Russia had produced a handful of female fighters, they were frustratingly scattered across border lines. When it came to her attention that there was a steep rise in popularity and talent of the female MMA fighting scene in America, Kunitskaya became determined to make an international name for herself and book a fight there. In 2009, with no other options available, she made her debut fight in front of thousands in the lauded K1 World Grand Prix in Poland, against a hometown opponent who had 4 times as much professional experience.
In Russia, we don't have a lot of fighters, not like who fighting, in general, girls who training. And it's very complicated because our mentality is still like very traditional. All people saying that like, I don't like when women fighting, I don't want to watch it. And a lot of people watching, and they, when you meet this person, they're like very kind and saying good things. But like, you know, if you read like comments on internet, everyone trying to show, no, it's not for girl. Like, I don't want that like my daughter doing this thing, or like my wife. Even I don't know why, but even like when fighters, they marry girl who fighting, but they keep speaking that it's bad and think they become like in love with this girl, but in general like it's bad. But when I was training, I was understand that it's I don't need only compete in Russia. I was watching that it's like how popular it's like, let's say in America, and it was kind of like my plan to go here and fight here. And here it's so different, a lot of girls, and it's a lot of attention, especially like last years when women start fighting UFC. It started to be so different, like doors open now for women.
It seemed as though Kunitskaya's star was going to rise even higher when her exciting style caught the eye of Strikeforce promoters in America. She was slated to face pound-for-pound queen Cristiane Cyborg Justino for the Brazilian's featherweight title when visa issues interrupted her plans and forced her dreams to wait. The timing couldn't have been worse. Strikeforce went out of business, and as the eyes of the MMA scene shifted from Cyborg towards its newest superstar, Ronda Rousey, Yana Kunitskaya's trajectory slowed to a halt. A lack of resources for professional preparation, increased travel, and inconsistent training led to a series of injuries, and the seemingly inexhaustible motivation that propelled Kunitskaya thus far began to wane. Wanting a break and bending to Russian social pressures to start a family early in life, the resigned Kunitskaya became pregnant with the intention of walking away from MMA for good.
I've been doing this for so long, I'm able to spot it. I believe it day one. I told them, the first second we trained, you can be a UFC champion one day if you want to.
To quote the poet T.S. Eliot, in a minute there is time for decisions and revisions which a minute will reverse. For Raquel Paolui, a decision made in the space of that minute was a catalyst for her entire future. By August of 2014, her mounting personal and professional setbacks in MMA fostered a new sense of self-doubt, which became so overwhelming that it seemed like, quote, everything was falling apart.
It messed with my head a lot because it's like, man, I love this so much and I keep getting close and then it doesn't happen. maybe I'm just going to be the girl that everybody kind of just is the stepping stone. Like, you question yourself a lot. Like, I know what I'm capable of, but it doesn't stop you from thinking, like, what more do I have to do, you know? It was really just proving to myself, like, I am what I believe I am. Like, I didn't sacrifice my life and being away from my family and being away from everything that I'm comfortable. Like, moving here with no job, no money, no car, no plan, like, by myself. So when I went in there that night, I was just like, I know what I am. I just have to, like, prove to myself that this is what I believe that I am, you know? So when I went in there, I was like, I'm finishing this fight. I'm not going to let it go to decision, and that was the result.
Just as her father once built the family house brick by brick, Raquel needed each of these elements to work together to build herself as a fighter. The mental strength she found the day she was preparing to fight Kunitskaya, to fight after being out of competition for so long, became the final brick. It was time to enjoy the process of becoming the Lionheart. She beat Kunitskaya easily by first-round choke.
The steps that Raquel Louis been through, the tough fights she had early on in her career, actually gave her the tenacity and the mental fortitude to keep going. Just from that, we know that she's conquered a lot of demons. And all I tell her is, listen, you've been through the nightmare. Now it's time to accomplish the dream.
Raquel's move to Las Vegas also brought her personal happiness. Though they had only met casually in Drysdale's gym in 2015, when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion Renato Canuto returned in 2016, they frequently found themselves drawn together, talking of their dreams and ambitions until dawn.
What? Relax. I don't know what to say. As soon as I got here, right in the beginning, I remember I would go train, and she was always there. So I would go morning and night every day for like 10 days. Like, I would go Sundays to do not miss a training because I want to be the one that was training the most. And she was there every day. Plus, she was doing the striking part, and I was there, like, tired, I couldn't make it, but she was still in there. I was like, how does she can do it?
He came here, we hung out a couple of times, and then I ended up bringing him to my house one night, and we stayed up to like 4 o'clock in the morning just talking. And then I brought in, like, the next night again, same thing, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning just talking, and we bonded really fast because it was just like hours and hours of talking. We were like, man, this is the same person as me, you know? He wants the same things, he has the same drive, he has the same focus. Yeah, we ended up, like, you know, a week and a half later, he was pretty much living with me and never left, you know? Renato he's been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I truly believe in her. I mean, I'm her husband, it's easy for me to say, but things are coming, like, becoming true right now. You guys are about to see what I'm talking about.
Yes! Yes!
So I feel that Raquel, when she first came to me, she had all these scattered pieces, but they weren't together. I feel now we're doing that.
That's what this fight represents. It's the celebration of our hard work and dedication. We've taken this championship.
It's all coming together, and like every fight she's been improving, and I think the next Raquel not only walk away with that belt, but it's going to be her best performance ever.
For Raquel, a split-second decision to stay in Las Vegas changed the course of her entire future, bringing her a training partner and husband who fuels her ambition, bringing her the coaches with vocabulary that finally rings true to her, who hone her skills as they quiet her mind. And at the heart of her journey is a desire to fulfill a promise to her father that she will do what she set out to do from the beginning, become world champion.
Main event of the evening. 5 rounds for the Invicta FC Bantamweight Championship.
Kunitskaya's return to MMA can be described as nothing short of triumphant heartbreak. Her previous winning credentials earned her a shot against reigning Invicta Bantamweight champion Tonya Evinger.
5 5-minute rounds for the Invicta FC Bantamweight Championship.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's fight.
And when she finally stepped into the cage, Kunitskaya locked an armbar in the American after being taken down.
Oh, and Tanya just standing in the face. Technically, I don't think it's illegal. I don't think it's illegal.
I think it's legal.
Stop. Wow! Yana Kunitskaya is the new Invicta FC bantamweight champion.
It was a shocking moment to see the dominant Evinger tap for the first time in 6 years, and the normally stoic and contained Russian's face lit up as she screamed in joy.
It's not a foul. It wasn't a kick. But Yana Kunitskaya gets a tap nonetheless.
And the new Invicta FC bantamweight champion, Yana Foxy Kunitskaya.
It was a short-lived celebration, however. Under an appeal from Evinger, the Missouri Athletic Commission reviewed the fight tape and deemed that the referee's mistaken call had interfered with Evinger's armbar defense. They overturned the fight to declare it a no contest. Yana Kunitskaya's claim to the title of third bantamweight champion in Invicta history was erased in the space of a moment.
I still think that I won this fight, and this very stupid decision. In the second fight, I didn't like my training, how it's going on. It's why after this fight we break up, and now I'm training here. I still think that I'm a better fighter than Tonya, and I hope I will meet her again.
For over 15 years, fighters from all over the world have traveled to the unlikely destination of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the hopes of adding their names to the pantheon of MMA greatness. In the high-altitude desert terrain, famed coaches Greg Jackson and Mike Winkeljohn have successfully produced dozens of world champions together, and have also established one of the strongest teams of female fighters in the United States.
Absolutely crazy, because Albuquerque is terrible. They would leave great places to come here. Albuquerque does have a couple of neat things. It has, I think, the best fighters in the world. And because of the fact there's not a lot of other things they do, there's not those distractions. So guess what they do? They come down and they roll. They go back up, maybe go to sleep, they come back down, do some stand-up, they go back, go to sleep, they come down, do some conditioning. So they're all in once they're in Albuquerque.
It's becoming very common for Russian fighters to come in and make the name for themselves in America, because I mean, America been a mecca of major sports for as long as we know it, right? Even you see from the exposure that we get just being within the gym is already obviously, crazy.
Yana coming to the team along with a lot of other girls that a lot of them live in our dorms, come from around the world. They built this bond, they kind of come back, they work out with each other. And it's great because now they're getting real competitive, but they're friends. The level is getting better every day. She just has this want and desire to always be the best, which is great. It's great for a fighter. The biggest thing with Yana is getting her to go out there and have some fun, relax a little bit, and show the world her skills.
Yana's move to Albuquerque, New Mexico brought her away from both the comfort and complications of Russia to a community that finally understood her drive. Even as she misses her son, when she walks down from her room at the Jackson Wink dorms to the mats, she enters the world she had wanted since she was a child with a dream of becoming a professional athlete. Another kind of family greets her here, one forged daily through the sweat, hard work, and dreams of personal greatness.
It's the thing what I was searching about all my life. I was missing in Russia. Now I feel that like my 27 years I was doing nothing.
Very few people get a second shot at a title bout, and when she was offered yet another against Raquel, the Russian decided that it was now or never. At the heart of every human being lies the question of what it truly means to know oneself, to understand why you exist in the world. This question seems amplified in the psyche of the fighter, whose identity is not only rooted in tests of skill and determination, but in actively choosing to face the potential for heartbreak and embarrassment in front of thousands of onlookers on any given day. The true narrative between Raquel and Yana Kunitskaya is not simply a story of two fighters seeking the glory of a golden belt, but one of the indisputable power of self-belief. Though their stories couldn't be more different, each woman has seen the moment of her greatness flicker, as T.S. Eliot would say, and each woman has still refused to quit. They both know what this belt is truly worth.
Yana has the ability to pick her apart and eventually stop her, you know, third or fourth round in this fight.
I think it'll be a first-round submission.
You know, sometimes they say, you know, 3 times is a charm, right? So hopefully we'll have another title in the house.
I will win this fight by knockout.
I will not let this belt go home to Yana.
He's the best. Keep working. Peace. And the new Invicta FC bantamweight champion, Raquel Lionheart Louis Canuto! It's gonna happen, believe that.
On August 31st, one woman will have her hand raised, will have a belt strapped around her waist. She will not have a perfect record, and she will not have paparazzi flock to her or millions of dollars in the bank or any new guaranteed ease of life. She will simply have this, that she is finally what she has always been meant to be, the champion. This is Invicta FC.